So you drew all that?
Well, it actually started with the middle bar. Those three base circles are, well, the middle circle is the actual world, and the top is the north, and the bottom is the south, and that's the 5 latitude. What was missing from the middle square, and I draw the circle in the square. I actually need here. This one here, you can actually see this, the main circle inside the square. What I noticed was you see the north-south is at the edge of the square, but the east and the west, 2 points, are not at the edge of the square. And the distance from the side, when you draw a triangle between those, the center point, I don't know if you see my mouse. Yeah. What we see here is actually the complete grid in the Cloud of Life pattern drawn. The middle bar is the actual dimension, and the side squares are folded into the center. And the Flower of Life, you see those patterns you see here, create the triangle grid inside the square. You can see better the triangles inside the square. The funny thing is that to make a looping in north-south direction only needs a single square. So you go from the bottom here to the top there, and that's actually exactly the same point, but then a square further. In the horizontal direction, because of the diagonal branches of the Flower of Life, you are forced to use more positions to actually end up at the same center point in the square. And I came across by drawing it out that the completely the sides of this drawing is exactly the same as the center point of the drawing. But it is at the edge of the square, and you have to go right, completely to the right, and the edge of the right is the edge of the left, and then you go to the right again, and then you end up in the center again. You can actually see that with the yellow leaves of the flower, how that pattern is actually connecting into the center. Oh, it's so complex, I guess. What I noticed was the whole east-west looping of the 4-dimensional display of the Earth is actually needed for the Flower of Life to end up at the same point in the horizontal center, in the horizontal direction. In the vertical direction it's just a single step, but in the horizontal direction I need 7 or 8 steps to actually end up at the same position in the square again. And if you ask me, this shows why we actually need the east-west looping to make it work with the whole Flower of Life geometric system, if you understand what I mean.
Sarah, just for that being a little bit funny, it's just, would you say that last sentence again?
Oh, there is how do you say this?
Sorry, you were talking about eight.
The circle
Eight.
creates the flower of life leaves. And to translate the circle into the square, you actually need the points of the circle's crossing, what makes the triangle. So the triangle is actually the middle way between the circle and the square. And you need to fill the square with the flower of life pattern into a grid. You'll have only the east-west looping to actually connect it into itself. As you can see, it's 16 triangles wide and 28 triangles high. And yeah, I don't know where to start actually. That's all just going too complex to actually see it.
You could actually see the hypercube in that last picture, couldn't you? The one in the cube in the middle.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It is actually a hypercube system, like the movie hypercube, for example, ends up in a scene where they have the square box, and when they go out one side, they come in the other side. And this is actually happening in East-West sense the same, exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny is the whole Mason logo is the square and the compass, and they are saying also square and the circle, and that really made me wonder at some point that I was going to draw the circles and end up with all these drawings and see actually how east-west looping is needed to actually fulfill the square and the circle principle. Yeah, it's, you see here I actually draw the sides of the square.
Yeah.
You can see it here and here and here.
It's up to me, it's really stood out. I can really see it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a multi-layered drawing actually. A few things going through each other in a way. And I'm thinking also the whole magnetical stuff is over the circle lines and through the polarities of one side to the other. It's this one you can actually see the polarities of the triangle with the other one from south to north. Funny thing is also, this is north and this is south. This is west and this is east. But this is south and this is north and this is west and this is east. And then we have north again here and south again there. But funny thing is, I can zoom it. Yeah. If you see this is the toroid seen from the side.
Mm-hmm.
This is the north angle. This one should be actually left or right. I did this completely the other way around, but north and south, this line there, this right there. You see this line here, that is actually starting here, going there, and ending there from the middle line. And that is the same for the east and the west. But this is the rounding, and this is the straight line version. In a way, you have the triangles on the right side and the round and the circles in the left side. And it's a combination of those two in the sense of polarities. When you see the east-west and the north-south. The east-west has the base of the 2 points of the flower, and the north-south has the base of the single point of the flower. You actually can see the triangles in opposite direction of each other. This is how you can actually know north and south and east and west because of this triangle interference pattern. Each is a north and a south polarity, and it's interwoven into each other. This is actually a three-dimensional reality, and I only have paper to draw it on 2D, but in a way the whole electromagnetic field distribution itself is through the flow of light circles. And if you ask me, you can actually draw the lines of all the fields and the frequencies in there. And they're getting smaller as more as you zoom in. You will see the smaller leaves inside and so on and so on. Well, this isn't really a very sharp one.
How long did it take you to draw those series?
It is a multi-layered flower of life system actually. As you have here, you can actually go another line extra outside, and you have 6 sides, and then you go another level, and then you have around that. And it's a growing something in itself, as you can see in these, for example, in the top leaf you see a little one inside it, and 4 little ones inside it, but there are actually one leaf divides in two, and it's a fractaline distribution of its own frequency. And if you ask me, we can actually, by knowing the east-west distances of the 40,000 kilometers, we can actually calculate what it should be at the north and the south eventually. But I only know the horizontal direction distance. And to complete the circle sequence is through the east-west direction. And that's actually confirming why we need a 4-dimensional looping in east-west direction as well. It's impossible to do this without the looping.
Yeah.
Especially when you take this one. It is the middle square in the middle, or the middle circle, where it starts as the center. It doesn't matter what side you go. It means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 steps to actually end up in itself again. And in vertical direction only 1. So it's a ratio of 1 to 8. I'm not sure, I'm still figuring out the numbers here.
So would that mean that there's 8 repetitions before it comes back?
I didn't hear that completely, sorry.
I said, would that mean then that there's 8 sort of repetitions before it's back to how it was?
Yeah, it moves every time when you move. For example, where are we at? Oh, yeah. When you have, for example, this point here, and you take the next one in the triangle, you end up here, but it's outside the square in a sense. And so when you go out on the other side, you come in the when you go out left, you come in on the right, and the point where they meet. Yeah, the point where the triangle meets at the same horizontal equator line. If I go out left, for example, I end up here on the right.
Yeah.
To the right, and then the next will be one to the right again, and the next will be outside square, coming inside the left, and so and moves until it ends up at the center.
Yeah.
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 This looping in horizontal sense needs 8 steps. But in vertical sense only 1, so it's a ratio 1 to 8 or something. And I'm not sure why it is there, but it's apparent that through this drawing you can actually see how it is in horizontal sense. Multiple toroid fields actually. You can see the top and the bottom is one, but the sides has another 2 extra. And these are an interfering pattern. What is actually, if you ask me, generating all the electrical fields and all the ley line grids we find in our world.
Could that
as we actually learn to look in the sense of matter, while matter is actually just an electromagnetic field in a more dense situation.
Sorry.
And everything eventually an EM nature.
So could those bits be the fields of possibility, you know, that we can draw on and use for what we can use to create with?
Sorry, I missed that one. Can you say that again?
Yeah, I was just saying, you know those fields that you was explaining about that were round, could those be like fields of possibilities that we can access if we learn how to?
Well, nature does it already. Like, yeah, well, you see it in flowers, for example, how they grow. The sunseed flower, for example, is the most easiest one to see how they actually grow in these kinds of patterns. It's all coming from this mathematical nature, you can say. And this is why they probably are busy with the flower of life from the beginning, in all times. You see it back in everything, actually. And yeah, it made me think of how they put it right in your face all the time by actually showing you the square and the compass. But the association with the whole Mason stuff is scaring so many people that they don't actually look into the stuff they know.
Mm.
And what they're actually saying to you right in your face, because they need to tell you, otherwise they can't force you anything. And by just telling you first the truth, and then a lie about the truth, is a way to confuse anyone. But the insiders know. They know what the actual meaning is. And if you ask me, it's all about squaring the circle. And it's all about connecting this into the flat earth reality. Especially when I found out there was a complete image on top and on the bottom of the Google Maps data itself. And then I saw what you actually need in squares. And I forgot what it is. This is one. Yeah. This is 0. This is 1. This is 2. This is 3. And then you have eventually 7. You need 7 squares. If you see this in horizontal sense, you need 7 squares. But the flower takes 8 steps. 7 and 8, or a combination here. And to go from this point to that point, you need 7 steps to the right and 4 steps to the bottom, or 4 steps to the, or -7 and 4. From this I built this. From there I came to this. And actually seeing the whole toroid stuff, what I discovered, actually these toroids need to be in the same direction, but the north-south here is right, and the east-west should be on top and on the bottom. But funny thing is, this is west and this is east, and the only thing they do is turn it around a quarter, or the other way. And it's same for the north and the south. You can actually.
Is that why you were talking about the 8? I've heard you talk about like the figure of 8 before, so anyway, carry on.
Yeah, that is a kind of infinity sign as well. But yeah, the funny thing is when you turn it around, east and west turn around, and north and south turn around it again, and it switches again. So in a sense, it doesn't matter which way it's which, as long as you know where the north-south direction is and the east-west direction is. You can turn around north and south and east and west just that easily. It doesn't matter in the mathematical sense because you're working with the circle. And the circle is going in all directions, the same.
What does this mean when we've just told everybody that we don't like or we're not following the Gleason map? Then people looking at this might say, oh, well, look, we must be on the Gleason map then. So what's the difference then, Ceres? Because we're not.
They're all about the circle or the ball, but never about the square. Well, the first one coming with the square, but then still taking the circle actually was net, and he put in the center still the north, you know, and I'm not sure about the south. I still have no confirmation about the true nature of south. As in, is there a circle going around? The same as in the north. You know? It doesn't matter if it's, well, in the green life, we see the difference between the species growing in the south and the species growing in the north. There's a huge difference. But I don't have any confirmation yet about the south being a straight line or going up and down of a circle, as in there should be a center in the sky. It doesn't matter if there is a star actually there, like the Polaris, but do the stars actually turn around there also like it will as in the north? And if you ask me, there should be more in the direction of the ball conclusion than in the circle. And if you ask me, they needed the circle first to prevent us from reaching the edge at the north, as we were already in the north and it's closest to actually reach the edge. And after that, we could reach the south, and so they needed actually a ball to put in a border in the south, the same as in the north. And this is how I came on not divided, not conquered, not in chaos, not under control, not a circle, not a ball, squaring the circle and freedom in order. And squaring the circle and freedom are interconnected in a way not many actually realize, as you need your own freedom to actually discover your own stuff. In the sense that you're actually researching instead of being led by scientism or any other authority other than your own author rights. I guess many get catched up in the game of manipulation and end up in the ridiculing anything instead of actually researching everything. And this is the whole mind control game running through the whole world against everyone actually, and nobody's actually seeing how they are manipulated into being put up against each other.
Yeah, you're right.
How does that kind of flower of life fit on the diamond map, just asking?
Well, the diamond is nothing more than actually from the north, what you see here. I can actually put it inside the screen. You see the diamond from here, from left to right. This is actually a part, but then it's a quarter turned, what they make of it. It's the flower of life, the same, but then a quarter turned. But
so how does that fit into the information you've downloaded?
The most north and the most south lines will become a dot, a single point. So they have to squeeze everything into that form, and if you ask me, I'm still not there on the photographic level yet. But if you ask me, the photographic evidence will show that any more thing will destroy the actual projection of the photo, as it should be, as we see it straight. So if you ask me, they show you the actual land for what it is, but when they start as a complete global view in Google Maps or in Google Earth, actually, they projected only in a ball until a certain zoom level, and from there you actually see everything in square images. And that is just before the details are getting clear. So
how does that fit in with all the information?
But in the meanwhile, they show you the flat.
How does that all fit in with the information that you've been downloading though? Like everything that you're downloading, on the side. How does that fit in with this?
Well, this part is actually started because I was working on a 3D engine and I discovered that in the 3D engine everything is triangles. So I was figuring out a way of how I can actually build icons as the single flower of life pattern. And oh yeah, maybe here. And I discovered that by drawing this pattern that there is this east-west problem where you cannot connect without those extra loopings. So I need 6 extra squares to actually make it looping in the horizontal direction. And that produces a grid of triangles, what is actually what will become the base for my 3D display. So I can actually, well, there is several steps to zoom into that level. You can see it's 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles from top to the middle and to the bottom from the middle. And this is how I'm gonna collect all the elevation data as well. And through this pattern I can actually, by adding a single dot, I can create a new triangle for every step. But with less data in the 3D engine to actually project all the stuff. What I was doing in the previous version was actually using 4 points drawn through 2 triangles for a single dot, and that produced all the squares that we saw for every pixel. But by using this whole triangle system, I can actually use a single dot instead of 4 dots to create something in the graphic environment. And yeah, then I came across this issue of how the hell it works with the flower of life, and well, yeah, we will see more soon, I guess, as soon as we actually use it and produce it in a 3D engine. I can also, because of this triangle stuff, I was also figuring maybe there's a correlation between the ley lines and stuff. So the question will become, where's the 0 point? Where is the actual 0 point of the circle where it starts? And because you can draw a flower of life inside a flower of life, inside a flower of life, every how do you call it? The frequencies of the waves you can see, those get a half time. You can divide them in half every time. And this is how I can actually, if I have a single circle here, I can. If I have a single circle here, and then the next level will be that this will be the next circle, a single square, and that's how I can actually zoom in into the data later. Oh.
Yes, it's very interesting. How long have you been doing this whole series?
Well, the crochet work I was doing already for a few years, but that started actually by drawing as the sort of this flower of life pattern and discovering there is this triangle pattern of the same distance everywhere.
Do you think?
Yeah, the whole. Then I discovered the triangle stuff inside the 3D engine. And then I wondered, yeah, maybe there's some correlation between it. So I started drawing again and ended up with the first drawing. And then I saw, hey, there's an horizontal looping and there's no vertical looping. And then I came to this drawing and showed how actually the circles, you need all those circles to create the grid inside this square. So
It's looking a bit like those Antarctic pictures that we watched. Do you remember Ceres when I noticed the looping at one end and the other end? It's looking a bit like that, isn't it?
yeah, and this is why I'll probably have also this north-south, what I actually call an open folded book. And something in the middle is different, as if there is a horizontal frequency interfering with it as well. But vertical frequency is very apparent. You can actually see where the hills are the hills on the other side are the valleys in the other on one side. But
do you think this
the
whole
more
thing
you get to the center, the more distorted it gets somehow. And it's the question, what actually is the horizontal frequency interfering there?